In this lesson, I want to tell you about all the different security disciplines, meaning all those different security teams you've heard of or saw in the job advertisements, for example. There's information security, which is the topic of this entire course, and in short, you'll hear the name InfoSec too. There's also physical security, cybersecurity, fraud, and companies might have other security teams focused on specific issues, such as network security, for example. Let's get into more details of each of these. We can start from InfoSec. The main responsibility of the InfoSec team is to establish company-wide policies that incorporate selected standards and/or best practices. These policies will almost always apply to each and every employee, but that's not the end of the task. Compliance to the established policies must be monitored, and a process for ensuring compliance shall also be put in place. In practice, to accomplish this, a minimum of 3 steps is necessary, but the list is usually longer. First, an information security policy mandatory for all employees and sometimes contractors as well. Second, a monitoring process that describes technical and procedural activities needed to ensure non-compliance can be identified. And then third, an incident management process that describes the steps to be taken when non-compliance happens and is registered during the monitoring process. Second security team any company with physical presence has is physical security. What I mean by that is unless you're a digital company that doesn't have any stores or offices or data centers, then you'll likely need to deal with physical security too. Physical security is not just about bodyguards keeping thieves away. It's also about video surveillance, access such as identity cards procedures, printing of the cards, logging when the cards are used to enter premises, etc. You'll see some real-world examples of this later in our lesson called Authentication versus Authorization. Anyways, third security team that not all companies and institutions actually need, but are very common in banks, for example, are anti-fraud teams. What they do is, as the name says, investigate frauds. Sometimes they'll find some loopholes themselves and try to fix them before the bad guys find out. Sometimes they will respond to reports of fraud, often reported by the victims themselves. And since I already mentioned banks, you can probably guess which ones these are. Usually credit card related fraud incidents. Fourth, and the most interesting team, in my humble opinion, is cybersecurity. Now, cybersecurity in itself can be split up into subcategories, but in a nutshell, this is where all the operational tasks fall into. For example, while InfoSec might write the incident response procedure, it's the CyberSec crew who actually respond to and resolve security incidents. Also, security analysts investigating logs and alerts are also belonging here. So do network, cloud, application, infrastructure, OS security experts. That was it in the nutshell. We'll discuss more about the tasks all of these teams do in the following lessons. So see you there.